Okay, there it goes. Sorry, you guys. I don't know about you guys, but it just seems like lately my internet signal has been horrible. It doesn't matter if I'm on my cell phone or if I'm on my normal Wi-Fi. I'm having a really hard time connecting on Facebook or on lives or anything really. So hey guys, Jessica Probsky here with you guys today. I'm gonna tell you what my my second weigh-in is. I did this morning, and also I'm gonna go over the last kind of like big thing that I've added to my routine or to my life to change and to try to do something different. This one is going to help you with resetting your set point, by the way. So you might want to stay tuned if you feel like you are always the same weight and you can't ever adjust. So happy Saturday. If you're watching me live, put live in the comments. You're watching the replay, put replay in the comments. And then just let me know how your week is going or how it went. For me, this is the end of my second week, and I'll be starting my third week again tomorrow. So I'm just looking at here's my weigh-in and my journaling. I journal about like how I'm feeling and things like that. So my second weekend, you guys, I was happy with this because I got really nervous. Hey Melinda, thanks for watching. I was so nervous about this weigh-in. Let me tell you guys, normally my normal situation is I will lose weight my first week of doing any kind of program. I will lose weight, but I always gain it back. I always gain it back my second week. And especially with the 8 pound, I lost 8 pounds last week. So I really honestly thought there is no way in the world I'm going to lose weight this week. I just really honestly thought it. And you gotta be careful what you focus on, because then of course then it becomes. I will tell you, there was one day I didn't get all my water in. As you guys knew, I came on here, I told you, I had to decide whether sleep is more important or water was more important, and I chose sleep. My average sleeping for the week was about 6 hours, so that was lower too. I was like, oh, but I was just so excited about what things that were going on, with my business and things like that. It was a really good week for me, and so I just was so excited to help other people, and it just kept me up later at night than normal because I have teammates across the country. So that's why I didn't sleep as much. I will tell you, I cheated one time this week for sure. I didn't follow my macro the one day, and that was Thursday night. And I just say it was a moment of weakness. I was almost gonna come on here and tell you guys about it. I ended up having ice cream. And I'm high, like right now, my macros are high fat, medium protein, low carb. So you guys, my goal is to be over 70% fat for the day. So I will tell you, when I had that ice cream, it threw me off a little bit, but I still ended at like 66% that day with fat, high 20s with protein, and then the carb was a little bit higher than normal. I try to keep carbs underneath 5%, and that day it was not 5%. I think it was 7% on Thursday. So with all that going on, I thought there's no way in the world I'm gonna lose weight this week with having that less sleep, because of course I'm not gonna produce leptin. On top of that, having that one day with not even having a gallon of water like I was drinking. But actually, you guys, I got on the scale this morning and I lost a pound. I was I'm at 238.8. I'll show the pictures here in a few minutes. I'll post them when I'm done. So I am actually down 9 pounds now. And I started, like I said, not last Saturday, but the Saturday before. So my first weigh-in was last Saturday. My second weigh-in was today. So this is my end of my second week. The numbers for like my scale, like I told you, I have a smart scale. So I was very happy. This week I actually started moving my visceral fat. My visceral fat, if you guys don't know what visceral fat is, that's the fat around your organs. And normally that goes, your sub-fat that I talked about last week, remember I talked about sub-fat? That is like your jiggly fat, right? That's the easiest ones to get to. That's your stomach, things like that. It's easy to get to. Your visceral fat is around your organs, so that's a little bit harder to get to. And actually, I dropped down from 19 to 18 this week. So it is going after my fat around my organs, which makes me happy, because that means probably more than likely I don't have as much inflammation in my body. Because I don't know, I heard this many years ago, and I just always just took it as true. I didn't do research on this, so don't quote me on it, but a long time ago I heard that if you, from a doctor, but again, I didn't look at the research on or anything like that, but if you have a lot of inflammation, that your body will store fat more, especially around your organs, because it tries to protect your organs from obviously the inflammation. So, I was happy with that. Visceral fat, with me, with my fatty liver, so that made me happy knowing that I was targeting that. My visceral, or my sub fat, my jiggly fat went down too. This week it went down this week that did not go down. So but it's still down total 1.6%. So that's still happy for me. This week, though, like I said, I went down a point in my visceral fat, which was amazing. My muscle mass actually went up again this week to 0.2. It went up 0.2 pounds. So out of the pound I lost, 0.2, I gained 0.2 pounds of muscle. So that's a good thing. That means that I'm literally not losing muscle, which of course I would like to lose muscle, honestly, because I have a very, very high muscle mass, but I mean, I'm happy I'm not, because technically that's what people worry about, right? The average person worries about that. My percentage of body fat went down to 48.7%. So total, I'm down 1.9% in body fat. My BMR, my base metabolic rate, went up to another 2 calories. I can't ever say that. Anyway, so I'm up. Actually, my metabolism is up higher, which you guys are probably wondering, like, why does that matter? It does matter. Like, the more that your base metabolic rate is, the more that you're actually burning. So let's talk about the last step. Okay. And I'm actually in the middle of the last step right now, so it's a great time to talk about it. So we're going to be talking about fasting. Please, please, please do not shut off the computer. Because a lot of times when somebody goes fasting, they're like, oh, I'm out, okay? I will tell you that the first time I ever fasted was actually only 2 years ago. It was April 2018. A company that's a network marketing company was having everybody in the company was fasting, and I was just a customer, but I decided I wanted to fast. I wanted to try it. And I went through a 60-hour fast. After I was done, hold on, don't leave, okay? I promise what I'm going to say that I'm doing now, or what you can do, is not going to be that hard, okay? So I will tell you, my first fast ever, I literally thought the hardest part was about 24 hours in. It was difficult, but I had supplements to make it easier, of course. But the thing is, though, is that I was very frustrated. I can never say it right. You guys know that. I was very upset afterwards, because literally when I did break my fast after 60 hours, I thought I was starving. Like, I literally ate so much. Of course, I was eating the wrong things because I didn't know what to eat, really. I ate like toast, and which is bad. Obviously, your refined, sugars right there, like, processed foods, right? That's what I was eating when I got on my fast. So then I felt like I was starving. Yeah, it was great to weigh myself during the fast. I lost a lot of weight, like 3-4 pounds in a day or two. But again, at the end, I ended up gaining weight back. So, but since then, since 2018, I have been intermittent fasting, off most of the time on, but there's been a few instances where I'm just like, forget it, I don't care. So I will tell you that when I first started intermittent fasting, it was, I did 12 hours. Now, this is what I want you to ask yourself. This is why I started intermittent fasting back then, 2 years ago. If I really, really thought about it, when I would get up in the morning, I could go all day, really, until lunchtime without eating. I didn't feel hungry. I was never your breakfast eater. Even at a young age, I never was. And I always used to blame it that I had phys ed or gym class the first hour of the day, so I never ever wanted to eat and then go to gym class, and because I felt like crap when I would be at gym class. But as I got older, I realized that that wasn't even it. Like, I honestly can get up in the morning and I'm good. Like, I don't feel like I need a lot of food. And, maybe because the night before I normally eat a lot. I don't know. But all I know is I've never, ever been really a breakfast eater. So when the 80s and 90s, when they're all like, you got to eat 5 times a day. You got to eat 5 times, small meals a day, which is, by the way, bull crap for me. But when I did, like, I thought, okay, I'm a personal trainer. I have to eat the 5 meals a day, you know, when I was younger. So I would force myself to eat breakfast every morning, and normally it was always yogurt, right? Because you're good with yogurt and maybe a little fruit, you know. And I was thinking I'm doing good. Well, what would happen for me is, I don't know about you, and if you agree with me, comment down below. But what I always found was that I was more hungry. Like, if I ate breakfast in the morning, good Lord, I could pack in more calories during the day easily. It's almost like I felt like always like I was breaking a bubble. Like, and all of a sudden, like, the floodgates come out, right? You know, I'm opening that gate up by eating breakfast, and then the next thing you know, I'm always eating a lot. And I can try to tell you, I tried different things. Like, I thought, okay, well, if I have a protein shake in the morning, will that make me not so hungry all day long after I eat? No, it still made me hungry. I mean, literally without supplements, I probably would eat even more, you know what I mean, than I was. So for me, it just kind of made sense. And honestly, when I lost those 60 pounds in high school, literally in 2 months, when I did that, like, literally, like, that was before I never heard what fasting was. I never did fast. I never knew what that was. And literally, if I look back at them days, that's what I was doing. I literally would wake up in the morning, go to school, you know, I would eat at lunchtime, right? And that's when I break my fast every day. I never ate breakfast. So it's like almost like I was intermittent fasting, but I didn't know I was intermittent fasting. It was never called that, right? So here's the thing. If you have never fasted before, I would suggest you try intermittent fasting first before you do what I'm doing today. Like, I'll explain what I'm doing the last couple weeks. But you know, you can start. Here's the thing, the trick, the hack that really was like, aha, that's how they do it. The trick and hack for me was when I found out that people started counting their hours. They did hours, not days. So for instance, if I say, hey, go on a 12-hour fast, if your last meal was at 8 o'clock last night, then at 8 o'clock this morning, you are fasted for 12 hours. Is anybody else, like, when you found this out, if this is the first time you ever found this out, like, be ecstatic. Like, I was like, the first time I found that out, I was like, holy cow, that means like 8 hours or 7 hours of my sleep counts towards fasting. Because that's true, you guys. So in just a second, I'm going to give you all the benefits of fasting. All right, so just stay with tune. So if you want to anti-age, you need to fast. Okay, so my thing is like, when I figured that out, I was like, oh my world, my life has changed. Because see, I always figured fasting, like when somebody says, well, I fasted for 2 days, you automatically think that that means that they missed all their food for Saturday and all their food for Sunday. Does that make sense? So I just never ever put it in hours. And that's when I figured that out with the 60-hour fast that I first did, the first one I ever did, when I figured that out, I was like, holy cow, like that changed my world. Because obviously when you're sleeping, you're not eating, right? So that's right there. You get yourself a jump and you didn't even have to do anything really. So what I would suggest you do, I'm going to give you over the benefits here in a second of fasting. And then I'm going to tell you what you should probably start with, okay? So if you are a breakfast eater, maybe just start like an hour later than normal. So for instance, if you normally go, 10 hours or, whatever without food, and I want you to count the last meal that you ate the night before to the time you wake up and when you normally have your breakfast, right? If you do already go 10 hours, like a lot of you probably do and you don't even realize it, right? Extend it a little bit. The best benefit, honestly, is the real big benefits start at 12 hours, okay? And I'm going to go over the benefits here in a second. So 12 hours. So that means that you would fast every day for 12 hours from the time you ate. So like if you say, okay, from now on, I'm going to stop eating at 8 o'clock the night, before I go to bed, like every night at 8 o'clock. And then I'm going to make sure that I go 12 hours with no food. So I'll be able to eat at 8 o'clock the next morning. Pretty simple, right? So, I mean, just drink some water in the morning when you get up, or if you're a coffee drinker, drink coffee, but please don't put a lot of calories in it, because you put calories in it, you take yourself out fast. I'm not a coffee drinker, so for me, I have my, I just have water in the morning with my couple of my supplements, and then later on I have some ketones. But other than that, like I don't, you guys, my first 12 hours, like I can tell you, like I can do it with just water. I don't need anything special or anything like that to make it through 12. So, and then what I tell you to do is just try to increase it. Like maybe this week start with 12 hours, next week start with 13 hours, then maybe next week do 14 hours. The optimal goal, honestly, for fasting daily, if you're gonna do it intermittent fasting, is 16 hours off, 8 hours of eating. So that's up to you. I've been doing 16-8 for probably a good 2 years, maybe. But here's the thing, I'm not religious on it. Meaning like, so there was many times through my, my last 2 years where I'd be like, forget it, I'm done. I'm not gonna do it anymore, But I always seem to come back to it. Let me tell you a couple reasons why. I feel better. I feel much better. When I intermittent fast, you guys, I don't feel so tired all the time. I feel, you'll see why here in a second when I give you the benefits. So like that's intermittent fasting, okay? You can get a lot of benefits just off intermittent fasting and never have to truly do a long fast like I did the 60 hours, okay? So, but if you want to change your set point, you need to have prolonged lasting or fasting at some time, okay? So when I decided to start my program, I decided to make sure that every weekend for my first 4 weeks that I was going to fast for a minimum of 36 hours. Now remember, my 36 hours started last night at 7:30. That was my last meal. That was the last bite I took last night at 7:30. So literally like I just have to go till 7:30 tomorrow morning. That's it. Now I know that I say that's all I have to go because my goal has been like the minimum was 36 hours. I'm explaining here why that is in a second because I wanted to change my set point. But truly, I've been going like my first week of doing that, I did 44 hours. And then my second week, last week, I did 45. So my goal though was 36. That's where all the benefits start coming in play. So I don't say just go cold turkey, go into a 36-hour fast. What I would say to do is, if you want to try intermittent fasting first, because for right now, for me, you guys, on an average, I don't eat till 17 and a half hours during the week. So like normally my hours in, like I need to do minimum 16, but a lot of times I don't eat anything till 17 hours in. That's just my normal for me. So for me to go a 24-hour period, because then I go to bed, right? So like tonight at 7:30, I'll be at 24 hours. So in a couple of hours here, I'll be at 24 hours. And then guess what? A couple more hours, I go to sleep. It's not like I'm missing, you got to remember like 14 hours of that is sleeping of the 36. So almost half is, sleeping. So, is it that hard when you're sleeping? No. But let me go over the benefits of fasting, and maybe some of you won't be so scared of it, okay? So a couple of the benefits of fasting, I just gotta get my notes here because I get excited. You know what I do is when I'm fasting, I literally will watch my notes on it because I write down all the benefits of fasting. And honestly, this is just so you guys don't have to look it all up. This is the benefits of fasting. And this is not only the benefits, there's more than this, but this is just the ones that were important to me when I wrote them down. So after about 6 to 8 hours of fasting, so like for instance, when you finish your last meal, let's say that your last meal was Friday. I'm just using that as an example because that's my last meal. About 6 to 8 hours in, that's how long it takes for your insulin to start coming down. So your insulin level is starting to go down. What I found was if you eat a higher fat meal at the end, your insulin level goes down faster, okay? Obviously, if you eat processed foods, refined, like my first fast, for my whole program here, the Friday was the 24th was my last meal, and then the 25th I fasted. That was my first weigh-in, right? I will tell you on the 24th, I had, which you guys heard, I had pizza, mott sticks, like I had bad stuff. It wasn't good stuff, so I will tell you, I struggled on Saturday a little bit at 22 hours. Right now I'm at 22 hours and I feel fantastic. And it's because of what I ate last night. I didn't eat I didn't eat processed foods and refined sugars and stuff like that. So, but at 6 to 8 hours on average is when your body actually starts to, your insulin levels start to drop, okay, which is good, especially if you have, like me, insulin resistance or a fatty liver. okay? So then at 12 hours, you guys, this is when the magic starts happening. Now, when I say that something starts at 12 hours, that means this one continues on until you're done fasting, okay? That means until you eat that first meal, this is what's gonna happen. You start producing human growth hormone at 12 hours. Now, you 20-year-olds, like, you're okay. Like, you're still gonna be producing human growth hormone, but as you get older, obviously we don't produce human growth hormone as much. So what happens is, if you ever heard of those people that get the human growth hormone injections, the reason why is because human growth hormone burns fat and it builds muscle mass. But that's not the cool part. The cool part for me anyway, I think the cool part is, yeah, I love to burn fat, don't get me wrong, but the cool part for me is that it's anti-aging, obviously. The more human growth hormone you produce in your body, obviously the less wrinkles you're gonna have, the more you're gonna have anti-aging properties. So that's the key about human growth hormone. And it's been said, the reports have shown, the studies have shown that at 12 hours, as a normal adult, like in their 50s, 40s, they've increased their human growth hormone by 1,300%. 1,300%. Like, I was like, woo! Now, what's cool about this is it starts at the 12-hour mark, right? And like I said, the human growth hormone just keeps producing as you're fasting. There's no, like, they haven't found a time when it stops producing, which you'll see here in a couple of other things. Like, it's a good prime time for something to happen, but sometimes it'll wean off after that. Human growth hormone will continue on increasing as you fast. So about 13 to 15 hours in, you will feel like your body realizes that there's no more food. So if I'm telling you guys to try to go for 12 hours, remember at 12 hours, you're going to be starting to produce that human growth hormone, right? So maybe if you can go 13 hours, you'll have at least 1 hour of human growth hormone, okay? But 13 to 15 hours, there's no more food. Your body knows it doesn't have any more food. So what it's starting to do is it's starting to move to burn fat for energy. It has to find a different fuel source for its energy. So it will start going after the fat. It's almost like it's going through all the glucose you have in your body, and it's starting to do that. Also, your ketone levels will start going up, meaning like your ketones is what you guys want to produce in order to get rid of your fat. Okay, so if you're insulin resistant, especially, ketones is really, really key. So the more ketones that you produce, actually, the more you'll heal your body. Ketones actually have healing properties to them, especially your brain. So as your body produces more ketones, then in return, you're going to heal more. And that happens between 13 and 15 hours. 17 hours is my favorite. That's why most of the time I least fast. If I get to 16, I'm like, might as well go 17. And I try to go like 17. Like yesterday was 18 hours I went. I haven't gone over 18 hours though, by the way, guys. So I don't want you to think, I still eat. Trust me, I eat. I just eat in that window of time. So 17 hours, autophagy happens. We love autophagy. Now, autophagy, let me just tell you, first of all, that it will not continue as you fast. Autophagy, the studies have shown that anytime a fast is between 17 hours and 72 hours is the maximum benefit. After the 72-hour mark, I know some of you people are like, I'm never going to go 72 hours, right? So after those 72-hour mark, it doesn't happen anymore. Autophagy just goes down, diminishes, okay? So that does have a sweet spot to it. But what is that? So what it does is, at that time, now your body's burned off all the glucose it has, really, that you've already ate, like yesterday or whatever, and it's burned off the fat you ate yesterday. So now what it's doing is it's literally it's searching your body for food. Now, for you people that are insulin resistant, or you have a fatty liver or anything like that, like me, it's going after your fat, baby. It's gonna go after and find stored fat is what it's gonna start doing. Also, the cool thing about this time is your cells are starting to self-detox. You guys have to understand that you are putting your body, every time that you eat, you are putting your cells are just so busy, especially if you have insulin resistance. I know I keep saying that, but it's true, because your cells are just happening to fix all the stuff that you're doing. So like, if you have insulin resistance, like, your body's dealing with all that. your cells are just literally trying to digest food. And if it can't digest the food because you got too much insulin coming in and all that stuff, what it's doing is it's literally trying to store your fat, store that food. So it's like if you constantly are eating, you're not giving your body enough time to honestly start healing itself and do what it's meant to do. So at 17 hours, what happens is you start to self-detox. Your cells start to detox themselves because they don't have to concentrate on digesting food anymore. They actually can do what they were meant to do, okay? So your cells become stronger. That's what the key is. You're going to become stronger from this. And then you're starting to be fat adapted, which means that your body's adapting, I should say, to starting to use fat for energy. So that magic happens at 17 hours, and it will continue. Like the maximum amount of time that autophagy actually happens is 72 hours. After that, it kind of minimizes down. So 24 hours. So I'm going to be coming up on 24 hours here shortly. Like I got like almost 2 hours, and I'll be at 24 hours. This is when the magic starts. At 24 hours, you really, like, your major organs start to repair themselves. So I will tell you, you go into accelerated healing phases in your body at 24 hours. So one thing that it does is it goes after your intestinal tract, your gut, right? All that stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to get into this today, but a lot of you probably have leaky gut. Pretty much what leaky gut means is that you have like little holes in your gut. It sounds gross, right? Sorry, my internet. What happens is when you literally eat, it literally goes through your gut and hits your bloodstream instantly. It doesn't go through digestion and like it's supposed to, right? It doesn't go through the whole process like it's supposed to. So leaky gut's bad. That's why a lot of people that have leaky gut have normally eczema. They have skin issues. They have problems. Like I used to get hives all the time. I still have leaky gut. I know I do, because if you're insulin resistant, more than likely you do. But how you repair that, how you have time to heal it, is by being on a 24-hour fast. When you do that, what happens is your intestinal tract starts to repair itself. So it's repairing itself from leaky gut and all the other issues that you have in your stomach. Also, your BDNF starts to increase. And what that pretty much is that's really brain food. I have a supplement that's got BDNF in it. So it's literally brain food, and what it does is it starts to heal your brain. So if you have memory loss, if you have, if you're depressed, if you have anxiety, that's because your body probably isn't healing its brain at all. I will tell you, because been there, done that. I've been very, very depressed. I've had anxiety. I've done all that, right? So, and it comes to be a vicious cycle eventually is what happens. So you really need your brain to be able to repair. If your brain repairs itself, then you won't experience depression so much, because what happens is as your BDNF goes up, your serotonin levels go up. And if anybody knows what serotonin is, that creates happiness. Okay, you can't have a happy brain and a depressed brain at the same time. So the more BDNF you have in your body, going to your brain, the more the serotonin is going to rise up too, which then in return is going to make you feel better. You're going to feel happier, things like that. So that happens at 24 hours also. And then the other bigger thing is that another big thing is your CRP levels drop. So that means they start to go down, which you're probably like, what is that? Why do I care about those levels? The reason why you care about CRP, is because of inflammation. That means your inflammation counters are starting to go down. And it's starting to, help that inflammation. It's starting to get rid of inflammation. Also on top of that, your blood pressure, if you have high blood pressure, like I used to, for sure had it, that will start going down too, they say. Majority of people. The research has shown anyway. So now remember, the longer you stay in, the better, right? The last step I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to go and talk about the up to 72 hours. I'm just going to talk about between 36 and 48 hours, because that's what my sweet spot is, at least 36 hours. But like I said, last week, my first week I went 44, my second week I went 45, and then of course this week I don't know where I'm going to go. We'll see what I go tomorrow. I have no idea. But my goal is at least 36 hours. Now keep in mind, 36 hours for me is when I wake up tomorrow morning at 7:30 in the morning, right? I mean, I wake up before that, but I mean 7:30 I'll be at my 36 hours. So I could break it after that if I wanted to. But here's why I don't want to. Because if you're weight loss resistant, meaning you have insulin resistance, you have a set point that you can't seem to get past, this is when it starts to readjust and starts to change your set point. You have no more sugar left in your body, by the way, at 36 hours. Like, your body is done. It has no sugar left. There's no glucose left available for it to burn. So it does go and keep continuing trying to find that stored fat. And if you're weight loss resistant, that's when the magic starts happening. Also, you will find that your dopamine levels start to go up too, which means that you're going to find that if you have a sugar addiction, things like that, this is a way to break it. If you do a fast and you don't reintroduce sugar to your body again, I guarantee you, look at me. Like, I went over 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks with no sugar, right? So like 2 weeks. 2 weeks with no, more than that. 2.5 weeks at least with no sugar. And I'm going to tell you that the fasting helps, because like literally, like normally when I would bring home bad stuff, I'd say to my son, I'd say, take him up to your room so I don't see him, because if I see him, I want to eat him, right? So that's a good thing, is I can literally look at stuff and be like, I don't want it. I don't feel it. And that's because I'm breaking that cycle with my fast. So now at this time, at 36 hours or so, and I'm almost done. This is it. Okay, so at 36 hours, you start to produce GABA. And GABA production, when you first start to produce that, you might feel a little woozy or a little dizzy. What I'm going to tell you is, both times I did feel that. But it, like, literally I went and got some water, drank some water, and I was fine. Like, it literally lasted maybe less than a 30 minutes time period. What a lot of the doctors will say, go ahead and go to sleep. If you feel like, you just sleep in longer that day. If you have to, if you're going on a 36-hour fast, try to, you can sleep it off if you need to. For me, it only lasted it lasted, like I said, a half hour or so, but after I drank water, I felt much better. But I will tell you, as your GABA production goes up, you will feel better. Like, it gets better and better and better. And then, like I said, you got that dopamine coming in too. So it's helping you with any addictions that you have. So I'm not going to go into 72 hours, but 72 hours is really stem cell production, things like that. But for right now, I'm not doing that. So here's the program I've been doing. Let's start with, let's just start with last night, because it's just easier. So Friday night, my last meal is no later than 8 o'clock at night, right? So my last meal was actually at 7:30 yesterday. So I will fast for a minimum of 36 hours. So tomorrow I'll get up and I'll see how long I go. The last 2 weeks I went 44 the first time, 45 the second time. So we'll see what I go. I don't care. I really don't care how long I go, as long as it's over 36 hours, because I want to lower my set point. Do I believe that the reason why I didn't gain, I lost 8 pounds my first week. Do I truly believe the reason why I didn't gain weight this week like I normally would is because of my fasting schedule? Yes, I do. Because see, I went longer, so my set point should be diminishing. I normally don't do weekly fast. I normally don't. I normally, like I said, I intermittent fast every day, but I normally don't do fasting every week. But I find that there's so many benefits of why you need to do it, especially if you're weight resistant. Now, I'm not saying to start off that way. If you really literally can't do it, like, just start with, like, just intermittent fasting and see what happens. You'll probably lose some weight if you've never intermittent fasted before. But so what I'll do is tomorrow, to break my fast, this is something I learned from that 60-hour one I did, the first one. What I learned from that was, when you break your fast, you really need to break it with the 70% or higher fat. When I broke my fast this time, the first time, I did the weekend 36-hour fast, I did break it with ribs, like a fatty meat is what I broke it with. You guys, changed my world. I didn't feel hungry afterwards. I didn't feel excessively hungry, like I'm gonna have to eat everything. I will tell you, if you break it with a higher percentage of fat, like over 70% fat, even if you don't have to have a side, just have like ribs, or just have, ground beef with maybe cheese on it or something like that. You know what I mean? Grass fed, by the way, and organic, really good. meat. But anyway, my point is, don't worry about like having to have sides to break your fast. The key is to break it with a fattier meal, and you're not going to be hungry afterwards. What I'm saying, you're not going to feel like you had to go eat the whole kitchen after you're done with a fast. So then what I'll do is Monday I'll go back to my normal. So like my last meal tomorrow will be no later than 8 o'clock again. And I'll start my fasting routine again, my intermittent fasting, which is at least 16 hours minimum. Now you guys, I built up to that. I've been fasting for 2 years, like I said. So to me, it's nothing going 16 hours. And it might not be anything to you either. You'll be surprised. Some of you will go and start fasting. You'll be like, that was easy. Like that was easier than I thought, because that's how I felt when I first started fasting. I'm like, stuff is easy. Like this is not hard, because it felt more natural to me than trying to stuff my face every 2.5 hours or whatever, 5 times a day. Then I will go back to my normal macros, which is 70%. You guys, I told you this, 70%. Right now, that's the macros I'm on, is 75% fat. And then a little bit of protein, about 25% protein, and then 5% of carbs. I could go 10% carbs, but I try to keep it underneath 5. I will not stay on those macros forever. So I don't want you guys to think right now, oh my God, I'll never be able to have bad carbs again. It's not, no, I don't plan on staying on it forever. But right now with my insulin levels, I need to slay my insulin. So that's what I'm doing. By the way, everything that I'm doing does slay insulin. So you guys, like I told you, I don't focus anymore on, what necessarily all the programs. What I do is I focus on like whether it's keto, paleo, sorry, my dog's pushing my thing, Mediterranean diet. I don't focus on that anymore. What I focus on is what's going to lower my insulin. That's what I focus on. So that's where it's different for me now. That's why I think this is going to be a different ride for me. And I really think that that's why I want to share the journey with you guys, because I want you guys to see that, you know what, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'll just keep getting up and, take another punch, I guess. Like, I'm not going to give up on my health. It's just ridiculous to give up on your health, right? So that's what I'm doing, though, for a program, you guys. And I'm going to add exercise in this week again, only 30 minutes worth. 25 to 30 minutes. I told you guys yesterday how I'm going to get that in. You can walk, you can just do, like, every time you go to the bathroom, do some lunges or squats. But my thing is, I do miss my exercise. I have to get it back in. And I know that some of you are probably like, oh my goodness, you know what? I'm telling you guys, if you guys go a little while with exercise, like if you're consistently doing it, you will get to a point where you're like, I miss it. So I just miss the because by the way, when you exercise, you create serotonin, so you feel much better. But all right, so that's my program. That's what I've been doing. I will still be doing updates here because there's so many other things that we haven't discussed, but I wanted to give you guys the base of what I've been doing. You guys got it all. If you guys go back and you watch this week, you will see every day I did a post on what I'm doing. I will be covering other things like apple cider vinegar. I'll be covering vinegars, different things like that. I'll be covering leaky gut. I'll be covering, insulin resistant more in detail. If you guys don't know, still can't figure that out, what that is completely. Fatty liver, anything that skin tags. Skin tags will be a big one. We'll talk about skin tags. If you have skin tags, you might want to stay tuned. Just anything dealing with stuff that I've dealt with. Eczema. I used to get welts on me. Just all that stuff. I'm going to explain to you why you're getting them based on what you're doing and what you're eating. So with that, guys, so I'm very happy. 1 pound down, 9 pounds down. And what's week 3 going to show? I have no idea. Like, I'm kind of nervous because normally, like I said, week 2, I normally go right back up to my set point. I didn't. I actually lost another pound, so I'm 9 pounds down, and, this is my second week weigh-in. I don't know what's going to happen next week. I'm kind of like, I feel like I broke it, and I figured it out. So anyway, with that, guys, thank you for being on. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and like I always say, be the change. Talk to you guys soon.